Y una cosa, para todos los que tienen credenciales LEED-AP o LEED Green Associate, Revitaliza es Education Partner, entonces toda esta plática les cuenta para sus horas de educación continua. No, no suena, tienes que hablar algo.
Aeroportuario de la Ciudad de México.
Lauren Castañón, de Grupo Aeroportuario de la Ciudad de México, y soy LEED-AP.
Ana Hernández, estoy en coordinación ICA y DINSA, LEED-AP.
Eduardo Conde, encargado del lead de la losa de cimentación de ICA en el aeropuerto.
Hola, buenos días, Fernando Tejeda, de Holcim México, y también soy LEED-AP.
Hola, soy María José Núñez, trabajo en Revitaliza Consultores y soy LEED.
Hola, buenos días. Iván Segoviano, vengo de Cementos Moctezuma, como parte de Seguridad Industrial y Medio Ambiente.
Gabriela Dávila, de Cementos Moctezuma, y yo soy en control de calidad.
Buenos días, soy Pedro Cabrera, vengo de Bio y venimos de Puebla.
Hola, yo soy Alejandra, igual vengo de BN Solutions y de Puebla.
Son eco-concreto.
Sí.
Ajá.
Buenos días, soy Milena Romero de Revitaliza Consultores, soy parte de las consultoras en sustentabilidad.
Buenos días, Ricardo Sánchez de Azul Concretos, Concretos Cruz Azul.
Yo soy Carolina Martínez, trabajo en Revitaliza Consultores y soy LEED-AP.
I'm Laurel and I'm from Climate Earth.
Y sobre todo les venimos a presentar algo a gente muy específica, no es para todo el mundo, a gente muy específica de esta búsqueda de cómo hacer más fácil esto de la transición a mejores materiales. Entonces, lo que estamos haciendo el día de hoy es viendo cómo podemos ayudar en específico a la industria del concreto y de los ready mix, ¿no? De todo lo que está listo y que tiene formulaciones muy especiales. Entonces, bueno, como saben, esto es Revitaliza, los que nos conocen de más tiempo, pues nos hemos crecido mucho en los últimos años. Y yo quiero hablarles de, bueno, cómo se ha expandido el LEED en el mundo, que es muy importante y ya está en todos los países. Estos saltos, sobre todo, para nosotros han sido muy importantes porque pues cuando empezamos a trabajar en México, pues eran bien poquitos los proyectos y bien poquitos los países, y el día de hoy ya estamos en un nivel a punto de llegar a más de 1000 proyectos en México. Entonces, pues es una tendencia que no para, ¿no? Entonces, pues es bien importante para todos saber este tipo de cosas para ver que la gente, aún a pesar de las crisis y todo, sigue empujando este tipo de certificaciones. Y estamos aquí el día de hoy sin saber realmente si estamos haciendo un impacto en el cambio climático. Yo creo que este año ha sido de los peores para todo el mundo, en donde hemos visto las tormentas más grandes, los incendios más feos, cosas que nunca habían pasado. Una tormenta que solo era una al año, que pasaba los límites, ahora es una tras otra, tras otra. Y pues hemos visto muy comprometida la resiliencia de las ciudades, de las islas. Bueno, el terremoto de la Ciudad de México no podemos atribuirlo al cambio climático, sin embargo hay muchas cosas que sí podemos atribuir al cambio climático. Y justo estaba leyendo este libro de Naomi Klein, de que esto cambia todo, y nos damos cuenta que o hacemos algo las personas, porque definitivamente los gobiernos no se están apurando a hacer este cambio, o algo va a pasar que no lo vamos a poder remediar. O sea, ayer estaba escuchando incluso que hay intenciones de tecnológicamente tapar el sol, ¿no? Entonces esto ya es así como futurología, donde dices, ¿de verdad? Eso es lo que creen que va a remediar, en lugar de cambiar el estilo de vida, mejorar las cosas. Entonces, bueno, creo que todos sabemos que podemos hacer algo, y esto es de las cosas que me gusta a la hora de trabajar en estos temas. Trabajar en LEED, por favor. Gracias. Una de las cosas que me gusta más de trabajar en estos temas es que no nada más te tienes que quedar mirando cómo todo se cae, sino que hay cosas que podemos hacer para tomar acciones. Entonces, bueno, tenemos estas cosas que suceden en el mundo, que son nuestros estilos de vida, y la falacia más grande es que con la tecnología vamos a quitar el cambio climático. Tenemos que hacer muchas más cosas para prevenir el cambio climático y sobre todo es cuestionar qué es lo que estamos haciendo con cada una de las cosas. Entonces ya estamos haciendo mucho esfuerzo en agua, estamos haciendo mucho esfuerzo en energía y entonces eso quiere decir que nuestro siguiente punto son los materiales. Entonces LEED versión 4 justamente está atacando este tipo de cosas y bueno, pues vamos a ver qué más podemos hacer. Como les dije, la manera de producir las cosas está basada en un pensamiento de los años 70, de vamos a dominar a la naturaleza, vamos a hacer como se nos pegue la gana, total, si destruimos un lugar, pues vamos a otro y ahora usamos ese otro lugar, pero pues ya nos dimos cuenta que ya nos acabamos todos los otros lugares y que si no hacemos algo, pues entonces no vamos a poder hacer muchas otras cosas. Muchos de los impactos no los estamos viendo y el transporte, la movilidad, por eso la importancia de desarrollar economías locales es bien importante. Y yo creo que en México hemos visto que tiene un potencial gigantesco para tomar acciones. Muchas veces nos comparamos con el norte y parecemos un país muy chiquito, pero si nos comparamos con el sur somos un país muy grandote y si nos comparamos con Europa, pues España nada más es Chihuahua, para que nos pongamos en contexto, casi toda Europa cabría en México nada más. Entonces, tenemos un potencial muy grande, pero tenemos que empezar a medir muchas más cosas que nada más energía y agua. Todo esto que estamos sacando de transporte, de todas estas cosas. Y bueno, la industria del concreto tiene mucho potencial en esto. Y entender de dónde viene cada una de sus cosas, cuáles son los impactos, cómo mejorar. Es una cosa que les vamos a presentar el día de hoy. Y para mí ha sido bien importante, bueno, conocerlos a todos y conocer sus industrias, trabajar con ustedes en los proyectos en los últimos años y entender que todos podemos mejorar cada vez. Entonces, cuando salió LEED versión 4, todo el mundo estaba aterrado porque no entendíamos absolutamente nada de esto que tiene que ver con los materiales. Yo estuve justo en esa transición en el Materials Tag, en el USGBC, y estábamos verdaderamente en la luna. De pronto, LCA, la gente del análisis de ciclo de vida. ¿Quiénes son? A ver, vamos a buscarlos dónde han estado, ¿no? Y entonces ha sido bien importante entender el peso que tienen los materiales en todo lo que hacemos. Y bueno, esta es una frase que me dijo ayer Lauren de una, que no es exactamente igual, por eso no puse, ¿no? Tenemos que retomar nuestro clima y dejar de pensar que es una cosa que el gobierno tiene que hacer. Tienes que hacer que nuestro clima nos dure toda la vida y a las siguientes generaciones, pero tiene que ver con tener acciones para mejorar todos nuestros productos. Y el día de hoy, pues, a mí me da muchísimo gusto decirles que me tocó en una conferencia a Costa Rica donde conocí a Lauren y llevábamos mucho tiempo viendo cómo podíamos ofrecer soluciones buenas, bonitas, baratas, eficientes, flexibles, movibles para esta industria que necesita todo el tiempo moverse, ¿no? Que no es una industria estática. Y entonces, cuando conocí esta metodología, además de este profesionalismo de esta empresa, dije, esto es lo que necesitamos en México y por eso decidimos hacer esta alianza. Entonces, definitivamente es una de las formas más rápidas que he encontrado de cómo se hacen los EPDs, de las más flexibles, de las que pueden mover la industria más rápido. Y bueno, pues quiero el día de hoy, estoy muy emocionada de presentarles a Lauren y de presentarles nuestra alianza con Climate Earth. Me gustaría, así rapidísimo, que todos nos presentáramos. Algunos se conocen, pero para que sepan quiénes están aquí antes de que empiece Lauren, ¿no? Entonces, no sé si conozca. Y me encantó toda su trayectoria, ha sido de las personas que llevan más años que conozco en análisis de ciclo de vida. fue maestra de muchísima gente, todo lo que tiene que ver con análisis de ciclo de vida. Y bueno, ella es socia de Climate Earth y les ha ayudado justamente a hacer esta compañía muy sólida en todo lo que tiene que ver. Se unió con gente que hace software. Bueno, ahora les va a platicar todo. Y bueno, pues bienvenidos y bienvenida, Lauren. Gracias. No, because it's not a microphone. The microphone is so that people can listen to it.
Okay. I'll speak louder. Okay, this is for everyone else. Okay, I thought this was for you. Okay, great. Welcome and thank you for coming. As you said, my name is Lauren McEwen, and I'm an environmental. So my talk is about 30-40 minutes. I don't mind being interrupted and asking questions, but I want to be cognizant of the time as well. So we'll just see how it goes. Interrupt if you want to, and then we'll see where it goes. Let's see. So a little bit about our agenda, to tell you where we're going here. I'm going to start with a bit about Climate Earth.
I think you have to project your voice a little further.
Okay,
yeah.
Our experts, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll be cognizant of that. Our expertise, a little bit about our background of our team, and two of our applications that I want to share with you. Then I'm going to move into the market driver for EPDs, and that's LEED version 4, and I'm going to discuss the exact credit that you can get for having EPDs. Then I'm going to discuss why LEED cares about EPDs. Now, why are we doing this? And we'll discuss that briefly. Then I'm going to give you a background understanding of the lingo, the terminologies, all the acronyms. What is an EPD? What is an LCA? What is a PCR? Product Category Award. LCA, Life Cycle Assessment. Then I'll have what I call the anatomy of an EPD. So how the heck do you read it? Okay, so I'm going to go through that and show you, what things mean and how you read it. And then we'll discuss the ISO standards around creating EPDs and the problem this process has created for ready-mix producers to create EPDs quickly and cost-effectively.
Nadie necesita más traducción, aquí están más, o si no oye bien o cualquier cosa, ¿no? Sí, sí, sí. Por eso, si quieres, con la traducción. Ajá. Digo, por si no se escucha hasta allá, también, pues aunque sea que lo escuchen en español. ¿No?
After I give you a little background understanding about these terms, what they mean, why you care about them, and how to think through them, I'll move over into a tool that was created by the World Business Council for Sustainable Development and the Concrete Sustainability Institute that is helping people do EPDs. After I share with you that tool and some of its features and what it's done to alleviate some of the problems, I'm going to move into our tool, what we call an EPD Enterprise tool, and share with you how we've streamlined the process with this tool so that you understand the differences between those two tools that are out there for your use. Then I'll leave you with how the new process flow would work as compared with the traditional process. And then give a short little, I think it's a 2-minute demonstration. It's a video clip, a screen capture that shows the tool. And then leave you with the key benefits of it. So that's where we're going over the next 30 minutes here. So starting with Climate Earth. Climate Earth was founded in 2008 by two gentlemen in Berkeley, California. One was Chris Erickson. Chris Erickson was a CEO of several venture-funded software development companies. And it was founded by Carter Brooks. Carter Brooks is an energy modeler, an LCA expert, and a software programmer. Their idea was to combine the art, and they do consider it an art, of big data analytics with the science of life cycle assessment to create cost-effective solutions that are business-friendly, that you can integrate into your company effectively and cost-effectively in terms of the management systems, as well as cost-effectively. So there's a lot of companies out there that offer life cycle assessment, that offer designs for business use of life cycle assessment, but our key strength is this software and database management that our founders come with. So working on those key strengths of life cycle assessment and software and data management, we have two products. The first product is a supply chain life cycle analysis product. We offer this to mostly Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, which provides them with a dashboard. So we go through their purchasing ledgers and we create a mapping of their purchasing ledgers to environmental impacts. And then we create this dashboard that they can use to dig through their supply chain and find opportunities for improvement. And then develop strategies to work with those suppliers or work on those areas where there might be a risk in their supply chain for a resource. This product line is managed by Carter Brooks. I manage the environmental product declarations. I joined Climate Earth about 2.5 years ago. I have about a dozen years of experience doing life cycle assessment. I'm a life cycle assessment practitioner. I have probably trained over 300 other LCA practitioners in major Fortune 500 companies around the world. That's what I was doing before I joined Climate Earth. I've done life cycle assessments on many, many products, from packaging to plastics to fuels to you name it, I've done it probably. And so I joined the company and I've been working with them for the last 2.5 years, fine-tuning this product that they started probably 7 years ago, working with ready-mix producers. So down here you see some of the companies that we're working with. So moving on into the educational component of my talk here. LEED V4, the credit itself. So it is in new constructions, material and resource credit. It offers 1 point for having 20 different permanently installed products sourced from 5 different manufacturers. And if your EPD is part of an industry average EPD, it's worth a half a product. So they're going to need twice as many. If your EPD is a product-specific EPD, it's valued as a whole product. So if you think about them needing 5 manufacturers, having 20 different permanently installed EPDs, as a company you could provide 16 of them. You know, and then they could get the other 4 from the other 4 companies. Okay, so that's what's driving this product-specific EPD. So why did we do this? Why do we care? Well, we know that buildings consume at least 50% of the total energy. So really important to reduce this. So over the last number of years, we've been focused on making less leaky buildings. You know, we've added insulation, they don't leak so much, they're nice and tight. We focused on incorporating more efficient lighting and heating systems. And so what's happened is this cumulative energy demand over time of your building has dropped. Right, we have a lower slope now. So our buildings are using less energy, and this is really good. But at what cost? What was the embodied energy? The embodied energy being the energy of the materials used to make that building. And did that embodied energy go up when we put in those better systems? Systems? Oh, I wasn't sure she's hearing me. When we put in those better systems, you know, what can we do now to reduce that embodied energy? Because it's becoming rather important. So what we want to start to see is the embodied energy to come down, right? And then we're going to have some really nice buildings. Here's our typical building, and we've moved over here. And wouldn't it be great if we shrunk that little pie?
Yeah.
So we need tools to do this. How do we know what our materials embodied energy is? Well, an environmental product declaration, an EPD, will tell you that. And so that is why LEED cares. That people start using this tool to start helping them improve their products, or helping architects select products for buildings. So let's go on and say, well, what is an EPD? Well, technically, an EPD is an environmental performance label, and it is a type 3. Now, to understand this, a type 3, it's helpful to understand a type 1 and a type 2. Okay, so they all have ISO standards, 14021, 24, and 25, around what an EPD is, around these performance labels. So a type 1 label is a label that a third-party organization creates and specifies the standards. So think of something like Energy Star. Okay, an organization creates a label, you submit your product, they review your product, and they say you meet the standard, you can have the label. Okay, so a third party's managing it and verifying your product to carry the label. A type 2 label is a claim made by a manufacturer themselves. Okay, so you as a company have some product that's greener than other products, and you want everyone to know this. So you create your own personal label, and all products that fit those requirements carry that label, but there's no external verification. It's your label. So think of something like these address labels that are made on recycled paper. So all address labels made on recycled paper meet the standard, and they can carry this eco-friendly label, but no external parties verifying it. So that's a 1 and a 2. So let's discuss a 3. And 3 is the hardest label to get. Okay? It is an EPD that quantifies the environmental information on the life cycle of a product, enabling comparison between products fulfilling the same function. Okay? So we can't compare a refrigerator with a concrete block. All right? We're going to be comparing concrete blocks or cement or refrigerators. EPDs are based on independently verified LCAs, developed using predetermined parameters set out in a PCR, product category rule, subjected to the administration of a program operator. Okay, 3 new words: LCA, PCR, program operator. What do they mean? What is an LCA? In the simplest terms, an LCA is a multi-step, multi-criteria approach to evaluating the environmental impacts of a product or a service. Okay? So multi-step. Multi-step means we take into consideration the complete life cycle or a portion of the life cycle. So we could be cradle to grave. Probably heard that term. Cradle to gate. Or something in the middle. But it's multi-step. It's multi-criteria. Multi-criteria is the key. It takes into account how a product can impact the environment in multiple ways. It could modify the quality of the air, the soil, the water, all sorts of things. Not just one criteria, many criteria. So the thing to remember is an LCA is not a carbon footprint. An LCA is much more than a carbon footprint. It's multi-criteria. So we may want to look at, for instance, acidification. Acid rain, basically, hydrogen raining down on the soils, increasing the acidity, affecting the bios. We may want to look at climate change. We all know what that is. We may want to look at eutrophication. What is that? That is nutrients going into our soils and leaching out into our oceans and creating algae blooms. Okay, we may be concerned about that. We may be concerned just about water consumption or some other resource consumption. So multi-criteria. And these criteria, another term for you, are called impact categories. Okay? Next, what's PCR? Product category rule. So PCRs are a set of rules, requirements, and guidelines for developing EPDs for one or more products. So this is the rules that everyone has to use for a specific product category to do their LCA. Okay, so everyone does it the same. So thus, we can compare them. So our PCR has been developed by a program operator, as all PCRs need to be developed by a program operator. It's a multi-stakeholder process. They convene people in the industry to create these rules. So they're specific to a product category, and experts from that category have gotten together and decided what the rules should be. So this Carbon Leadership Forum, Climate Earth was one of the founding members of the Carbon Leadership Forum maybe about 8 years ago. And it has our current rules. So what are these rules? Everyone making an EPD using this PCR has to report their impacts per meter cube. So when somebody reads them, they're always the same unit of measure. That's very helpful. System boundaries. Everyone has to include cradle to gate. Okay? So somebody doesn't leave something out or add something extra. And there are a number of other input-output criteria around when you can emit things. Okay? Or not emit them. Allocation. This refers to how I might assign impacts to something like recycling. So if you use recycled concrete in your ready mix, how those impacts are allocated to your ready mix are spelled out in the rules. The selection of data, the background data that everyone uses is the same. Any new data, the rules around creating new are spelled out in the PCR. Impact categories, so we're all reporting on the same multi-criteria impacts. And then finally, the minimum requirements of what you're going to put in your EPD. So everybody who makes an EPD based on this PCR has to at least have this stuff in it. Every project report, so once you do your EPD, your LCA, you create a report. The content of that report is spelled out in the PCR. That report goes to the program operator who then verifies it. And the documents you have to send along are spelled out. Okay? So PCRs are really important. And it's really important you understand them and you contribute to the development of them or the update of them. And right now this PCR is going through an update and there is a whole stakeholder committee convened on it. So here's the anatomy of an EPD. This is one of our EPDs and it has the minimum requirements that have to be in it. Many EPDs have more stuff in it, but these are the minimum requirements. And we've designed them as a 2-page EPD, so they're very short and sweet. Okay? They print very fast on a single piece of paper, which is nice, good thing to do, right? And you can submit them in a bid. And somebody who gets them can read them. So, okay. So the minimum requirements, what are they? First of all, you have your company name, you have the name of the mix, the plant that it was produced at, you have the location and addresses of those plants, you have the standards that the mix complies with, you have down here the name of your program operator. Down below, you also have the date of issue, when it was issued, and EPDs are good for 5 years, so you have the expiration date. Down below in the small print there, you have the PCR that the EPD was developed on. You have who reviewed the PCR. You have the fact that yours was independently verified and who verified it. and you have the name of the LCA and the EPD development.
Lauren, I just want to point out that putting money every 5 years to pay for an EPD is just very costly. It's very costly for everybody. That's why we try to find another solution. And this is very important for us because it's like, okay, again every 5 years, again every mix that we have, again everything. And that was one of the reasons we were like, we need another solution.
What about the update? If you're in the middle of a project for the 5 years, is it easy to renew for those extra 5 years, or how does that work?
With our tool it is, and I'll be getting into that specifically because that is one of the problems. You hit, that's it, that's the pain point.
Yeah, you know, if your project is more than 5 years, it's a pain. You have some EPDs at the beginning of the project, and then by the end of the project, they no longer work.
Exactly. So then over on the right, of here, I just blew it up over here, you actually have the impacts. So let's walk through how you would read these, all right? It starts at the top, and this is your product mix, and the plan who made it, and the PS, and the mix description. And we have to have the compressive strength, and the days to compressive strength. Here's that declared unit, 1 meter cube, concrete. Everyone has to have a meter cube. These are all the impact categories that have to be reported, that are set out in the PCR. So every EPD that you read that was created from this PCR will look just like that, okay? And the units of measure for each one of these categories is the same on every EPD. Every EPD calculates those impacts the same way. They're spelled out in the PCR. So down here, total primary energy consumption. It's always in megajoules. And this is 2543 here. And that's the megajoules it took in the complete cradle to gate to make a meter cube of this concrete. Now, as you know, your industry, most of those megajoules are coming from making of the material cement. Okay, they're not your mixing operation, it's the cement operation that's driving most of those. Now, if you made those, if your cement manufacturer made those using the standard electrical grid of your country, or with you know, natural gas or whatever, you're going to have a lot of non-renewable energy making up that total. If they made it by putting solar panels on their roof, you'd have it made up of renewable energy, okay? So you see here, this 2,500 is then broken down into renewable and non-renewable. So that's pretty helpful to understand how that energy was created. Up here, we have global warming potential, ozone depleting potential, acidification, that's the acid rain, eutrophication. These numbers obviously would be way higher if we were, you know, growing soybeans. All right, but we're not. Okay, so these numbers are low here. Our client, you know, global warming might be a little higher because we're not growing soybeans. Photochemical smog. So this is the smog that's created primarily from the emissions from the energy going into making your cement.
I'm going to say something else. And these are the places where we need all to work. I mean, it's not just to manufacture ready-mix concrete or whatnot. It's how do we make it better? Because this is the information that we need in order to make it better, in order to take action and reduce the impact that the manufacturing is doing. So maybe we start sourcing differently, maybe we can start looking for closer materials, or I don't know, you have a lot more ideas on that.
Lots of ideas.
Yeah, but the point is we need to have data to start asking questions, you know, and to figure out how can we improve. For example, on the energy consumption, I know a lot of companies that have invested a lot of money onto having more efficient machinery, you know, and maybe they haven't thought about renewables, but renewables could be a very good way to go, but that is in the buildings. So why not? Yeah.
On this part on materials, is there a use of having an EPD, but on the cement itself, not on the ready-mix concrete, but on the cement? Like, for instance, for our company we sell either cement or we build ready-mix.
You should definitely look into getting an EPD on your cement. So right now, our PCR requires that everyone uses the industry average cement EPD that was published a couple years ago by the Portland Cement Association. I don't know if you participated in that or not, but that is the required background data that I use if I don't have supplier-specific information. Okay, I use the industry average. So by having your own EPD for your own cement, number one, you can use it for your operation, and if you sell that cement, anyone buying your cement can use it. And we hope that whatever you're doing is better than the industry average. But there you go. You have a way. You have a way to gauge it.
It's another way to differentiate yourself from the market, but by showing that you have a better option. That's why your sourcing is important.
Okay. And also, does it, in terms of lead, does an EPD on cement helps the final part, like you're there
yes, and it helps in two credits, not only in the EPDs, but in also the supply chain optimization credit, the life cycle of the building, and the life cycle of the building. So we will help in 3 credits, not only on this one. If you have, because we want to green the supply chain. That's what LEED wants. So if you're making an EPD for your own product that is better than the industry average, you're demonstrating that you're enhancing the supply chain.
Okay.
Okay? And also in the life cycle of the whole building, not just the EPD, that counts as well. So you're making the whole better.
Okay. Thank you.
Great.
I'll just point out a couple more here. The other indicators on this are non-renewable material consumption and renewable material consumption. You can see here your renewable material consumption is very low compared to your non-renewable. I don't think there's a whole lot you can do about that. You're not making wood windows. All right, you're making cement, concrete, so you're using non-renewable materials. All right, but that's what that is. And then down here is hazardous and non-hazardous waste. So those would be waste from your operation, but primarily you usually don't have any hazardous waste in your operations. It would be the supply chain that did, and that's what's accumulating down here. They're also very low numbers, typically. The back side of our EPD is boilerplate language here on the left, and on the right is all the background data that was used. So in the example that you just brought up, sir, if we used your cement EPD data, we would change this industry average number here information to the actual one that we use, the supplier specific one. So if you read any EPD, you can now know, what you're looking at here. See where the differences are. So let's just review the standard process for doing them and then go into some of the problems that people have with this. You create a PCR using your ISO standards. Once you have your PCR, you gather your data at your plant and you calculate a life cycle assessment, produce your EPD. Once that's done, you send it off to your program operator. There are a number of program operators. You can choose who you wish to work with. And they will verify the life cycle assessment and the EPD. Then you get your book, and that's your EPD. And that book is published for 5 years. So let's discuss the issues around this that people are having. Primarily it has to do with the time it takes to get them. At best, maybe 90 days. Maybe 60 days to gather your data if you're efficient. And
6 months.
and do your LCA and EPD, And then you gotta, you know, pay your program operator, and they may take 30 days to verify. So at best, 90 days. And you can move out from there. So that's the time, and then it costs a chunk of change to do it. Typically, you pay a consultant to do the LCA and EPD, but I'm going to show you a tool, the World Business Council's tool, that allows you to do it yourself. You still have to take the time to gather all your data. Okay? And it's not responsive to real market need. You have mixes that are changing day to day. Your business is changing day to day. This is a static document. Your business is not static. And the goal, if you look at LEED's goal, is to make continual improvements, right? So if you're doing your job, you're improving your mixes. So, okay, you improve your mix, now you got to spend the money in another 90 days at best to get another EPD. And maybe you can't submit it because the LEED project isn't willing to wait for you. Okay? So there's no support for new mix designs. The data isn't updated, and your business is being updated all the time. You may have new materials, new suppliers, and so it's not updated, and your processes are changing. And it's not really effective when the numbers are going to start to matter. Right now, you're checked. You get the check mark because you have the EPD. At some point in the time, our architects are going to start reading those EPDs and understanding them, and they're going to say, well, this one looks better than that one. Maybe I want this one. So you're going to want to put your best foot forward and be able to put your best foot forward. And you're going to want to be able to explain, you know, those multi-criteria attributes and what you're doing to help in all those areas. So recognizing this, we've been working with people to change it, and there's other people that have been working with people to change it. So this is the tool that the World Business Council offers for members, and Portland Concrete Association had it updated to incorporate our PCR in it, okay? Not Europe's PCR in it. So now people are able to use this tool. And how do you use the tool? Basically, the tool is allowing you to enter your data and crunch the numbers, so you don't have to hire a consultant. So it's shifted those costs to your company, which can be an opportunity if you have life cycle assessment practitioners on your staff and you can do the work, okay? So what you do in this tool is you basically enter your materials, your manufacturing, your waste data. You enter your product, so your mix design data, and it crunches the numbers. So down here are all those impact numbers per meter cube. You then export this, you write your project report, you write your EPD, you submit it with everything that's needed off to your verifier.
Queremos enseñarles esto porque nos llegaron EPDs de Cemex y queremos ponerlos al tanto de todo. Entonces, cuando Cemex hace usando esto, todo es industry average, es decir, hay un porcentaje de cosas que están usando que ni siquiera son sus datos propios, porque nada más están llenando como si fueran contadores una hoja de Excel y no están entendiendo qué se tiene que mejorar, qué se tiene que hacer. Esa es la parte que falta, no es nada más llenar y tener el EPD, sino entender qué significa y cómo lo puedes mejorar.
Ese es justo el punto, porque
Exacto.
no están entendiendo
de qué sirve.
¿Para qué es o por qué sirve? Entonces es una cuestión de nada más compro EPDs, pero en realidad
no estoy mejorando, no estoy haciendo nada. Entonces, sí quiero que vean, claro que se puede hacer y van a tener el papelito, pero no, al final no entendieron nada de para qué es el papelito. Y por eso queríamos explicarles que esto es bien importante. O sea, estas son herramientas que nos ayudan a mejorar. Y entonces, sí lo pueden hacer ustedes, no les va a costar más que la gente que tiene que hacerlo y meter los datos y pues pelearse con un software, pero es muy diferente a lo que les queremos presentar. Sorry.
All right, so what have we done? We had a different approach. And we primarily worked with Central Concrete on this over the last 5 years to create this solution. What we did was we took your data. So we help you collect your data, and then we take your data and we put it in a database in the cloud. Okay? We create systems which comply with the life cycle assessment and EPD rules of the PCR to run calculations on your data. Okay? We have the complete thing system verified by a program operator. So now you simply enter a new mix, it runs, and it instantly posts on the program operator's website. So we introduced database systems and cloud technology to streamline the process. Okay? So how does this work? Basically, our approach addresses cost and responsiveness. So now you can respond to those market demands. We help you collect your material data, so the cement making data. We help you collect your transport data. We help you collect your manufacturing data. We put it all in the database, in the cloud. We have it verified. Then you enter in a web user interface a new mix design, okay, of materials that we already have mapped in the database. Push the button and get your EPD. Like this. It takes as long as it takes you to type the new mix in, and sometimes faster if you use our Command Alcon interface, but I'll explain that in a minute. So, a short little demo. Basically, you would log in on our website to this interface. This is a fake company we made up. And you have the choice of looking up existing EPDs or calculating a new EPD. So let me see if I can get this to run. Yeah. But it didn't run. So maybe I know, I have to take it out of, it's annoying. I have to take it out of presentation mode.
Entonces, esta herramienta es muy importante porque normalmente lo que vamos a hacer es cargar varios EPDs para ustedes en el setup que se hace, y una vez que estén aproximadamente 30, o sea, imagínense de no tener ni uno a tener 30 en el setup nada más. Y eso es para sacar estadísticas y sacar todo. Entonces, cuando empiezan a usar la herramienta, ustedes ya tienen 30 que pueden sacar y pueden empezar a hacer las alteraciones, les vamos a dar mantenimiento, ayuda, y bueno, cada obra puede tener su propio EPD.
So this is just a screen capture of me just clicking the buttons here, and I'll walk you through it. So basically, if you wanted to do a lookup, you would select a plant. You may have numerous plants. You would select a mix, you click lookup, it would download the PDF of that 2-page document, and you could submit it into a bid. That's for an existing one that you've already calculated. Now if you want to calculate a new one, again, select a plant. Then you have to enter in all that basic information, the mix code, the description, the compressive strength, the days. When you selected the plant, that interaction caused us to grab all the data that we have for that plant. Okay? You enter that all in, you click next. And now you have an interface that allows you to enter your mix description, your mix design, your recipe for that mix. So in this section, all of your materials are available in a drop-down. All those materials have been mapped to environmental impacts. So any material that you've given us that we put into the database, or we've updated in the database over the years, because we do updates, you can select. Those materials can be named anything you want them to be named. If plant, San Francisco calls that cement Joe Henry's cement, and plant Oakland calls it Sue Ann's cement, we could call it that, whatever you want, okay? And any new materials that you have, we just get the data for it, we put it in and link it. Then you click calculate, and you can review the results You can rework it if you don't like it, or you click calculate, click submit, and it downloads again, and at the same time your program operator has it on their website.
Pero lo más importante es que si, por ejemplo, lo más importante es que si encuentran un mejor aditivo o una mejor cosa, o por ejemplo ICA que les quiere pedir algo específico que tenga, que ustedes puedan diseñar, de quiero que tenga esto, esto, esto y esto, y quiero que tenga EPD, lo pueden pedir ahora, sobre todo si están trabajando con compañías que tienen este servicio. Pero para ustedes es muy importante, tanto para la gente que pide el servicio, como para las que ustedes como proveedores de concretos están ofreciendo el servicio. Y si les dicen, oye, quiero que verdaderamente me des algo mejor que el estándar de la industria, hay oportunidad de hacer innovación y diseño. Y con todos estos nuevos materiales que están surgiendo, pues se va metiendo toda esta información y ustedes pueden estar manejando. Y ahora sí, cuando vean la diferencia entre un mix de otra compañía y la de ustedes, pueden ver quién tiene un mejor EPD, no nada más porque tiene el EPD, sino porque tiene menor cantidad de energía, tiene menor impacto en el cambio climático. Es decir, con esta herramienta podemos tener acciones claras para la mejora de los materiales, no nada más tener el EPD, que no es lo que queremos. Queremos que sea herramienta para que ustedes mejoren sus plantas, para que ustedes mejoren su producción, para que ustedes mejoren todo y que puedan obtener resultados claros y tangibles y puedan demostrarle al mercado quiénes son. ¿No?
So just to review the process flow again, first you enter a new mix. Once we have you set up, the EPD, it sends it to the tool, the EPD calculates, and then the EPD behind the scenes is running statistics on all your mixes. And the program operator has their own tool for reviewing your mixes at any time they need to, okay? So that's the whole other side of this system. So that's step 3, where the EPD tool updates things for the verifier tool. And then it goes down to 4, and it publishes to the program operator and publishes to your desktop. Now, what you can see is that our approach addresses both the cost and the responsiveness that have been a trouble to people using the traditional path for doing EPDs. And you just end up entering your data and getting your EPD. Now, we have another interface that isn't the computer, but is with Command Alcon. So if you do use Command Alcon software batching system,
¿Alguien usa ese sistema?
I don't know how many people do.
¿No? Bueno, si ustedes ya usan eso, ya.
So if you do, then you can use, you don't have to use Command Alcon interface. You could use the standard interface. It's your choice. But if you do, the command interface, here is a list of all your EPDs. And on that interface, there's a button that says Request EPD. So you would just click the button. You wouldn't have to enter everything in because Command Alcon has the mix design. It's shooting that mix design to us through an API. And then we send back to them a PDF as well as an email to you with that PDF in it. Okay, so it's a little faster if you want to do that. We have 2 clients now using Command Alcon interface, and Central's the one that wanted it originally. Actually, we have 3 more starting, so a lot of people are using it. If you use Command Alcon, if you don't, you don't have to use that. So just to summarize the key benefits, it primarily can be summed up in instant publication and verification. And you can respond immediately to any EPD request. You can generate unlimited EPDs in minutes. I don't care if you do from 1,000 mixes or 2. Doesn't matter. Okay. You can submit your best mix design to maximize lead points. It's no hassle, low cost. Your EPDs are always current. They don't need to expire. So we update your data with you. So if you have new materials, let's say one of your suppliers put solar panels on their roof and they have better inventory data that we want to incorporate into your EPDs, we can update that. You can communicate with confidence about the environmental performance of your products, and that's key. And you're also exceeding client stakeholders' expectations. You're very transparent using this. The other thing that happens after you've been using this tool for a year is I start getting calls from people and they're saying, well, what if we did this, Laurel? What if we did that, Laurel? I mean, what would effects be? And that's that continual improvement thing that we really want. And so we incorporate that new data and we discuss with them what they can do. And then the real fun thing that's starting to happen just recently is some of our clients are asking us to wrap additional environmental management programs on top of this system. So we have a tool that we're working on that will automatically allow you to compare your EPDs to the industry average. We have a tool we're working on that will be front-facing for your clients, that they can look into the system and look at mixes with specific impacts, but meet specific standards in terms of compressive strength and whatnot. So they could review possible things they could buy from you, which is kind of exciting. And then we have one client who's going to have us interface with their sales data, and they're going to be able to look at their annual numbers and provide their clients with annual numbers of what they bought to show how their clients are.
Entonces, por ejemplo, para constructoras, ustedes pueden seleccionar una compañía que tenga esto y al final del proyecto les pueden dar todos los EPDs y todo el carbón que redujeron, todas las estrategias del impacto que redujeron, ya se los entregan después de terminar la obra de acuerdo a todos los toneladas de concreto que compraron. Sí.
Una pregunta en español.
Claro.
Me brinca mucho eso de que se pueden hacer. Gracias. Sorry.
No, está perfecto.
Gracias. Me llama mucho la atención y me parece muy interesante eso de que se puedan generar EPDs ilimitados. Pero mi pregunta es, estos EPDs, si los quiere comprar una constructora o los quiere comprar algún cliente, ¿tienen validez? O sea, ¿tienen un soporte de validez? Porque yo puedo cambiar datos y a lo mejor mi EPD ahí lo tengo para presumir algo que no tengo.
But I can answer.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, you can translate if you want. So you cannot enter data into the database. You cannot enter data into the database without your program operator verifying it. All right? So when we first collect data with you, we collect it I help you collect it, my guidance. I submit it all to your program operator of choice. We have 3 program operators we're working with now, so you have a choice. They verify that data. They're looking over it before you're able to start. Annually, you will have to pay a service fee to your program operator for the annual update, where they will look over any updates we do. Okay? You're welcome.
And one other thing, the program operator has to go through a lot of standards and certifications and validations to become a program operator. So it's not, I mean, this is a third-party certification, verification. Everything is reviewed. Maybe you can explain them that what happened if you put something that stands out.
Ah, yes. So, let's go back to... So I didn't talk about this too much. Let me explain it. We have a very sophisticated system over here. Basically, your program operator has a tool they can log into any time they want. and they can see the details of every mix that you have submitted for an EPD. They can also see the statistics on your company and your plant, that you might have 1,500 mixes, and the min and the max and the coefficient of variation is this for each impact category for each plant. Every time you click the green button to submit an EPD, we are reviewing it to see if it's an outlier of those statistics. All right, so if you decide to do something crazy and make a mix and cheat, all right, it's an outlier and it's quarantining, and you will not be allowed to submit it. And it will go through an email to the program operator. The program operator will be calling you, and he or she releases it. All right? So we're constantly monitoring not only for mistakes, but also to prevent cheating. and also, it's allowing you and them to see the improvements. So annually, you could be seeing how you're improving across the board. So pretty neat.
Está muy redonda. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Entiendo que el operador va a verificar. Va a verificar de manera anual, ¿no? Hacer una revisión. Pero esto que sustento, digamos, sí tendría desde un punto de vista hacia las certificaciones, los macizos, o sea, porque al final nosotros utilizamos, y como saben, en el concreto, para hacer un diseño podemos usar 20 tipos de materias primas y hacer las combinaciones que necesitamos en el momento. Entonces, sí entiendo la parte en que podemos hacer las combinaciones que queramos en los EPDs, pero esto de qué manera nosotros tendríamos forma de sustentar que sí está siendo evaluado correctamente, tanto del operador como hacia nosotros.
Maybe you can upload explain them like the timeline, how is the process, because it's not that you can do any material, but you have a preloaded approved material.
Yeah, I'm not sure I totally understood the question.
Like what, how, it's basically like how is this validated?
How's it validated? Okay. So we have worked with 3 program operators. IERE out of Seattle, which operates under the Earthsure label, ASTM, American Standards Association, and NRMCA, National Ready Mix Association. Each one of those program operators has looked in detail at how we calculate everything within our system, and they've proofed those calculations. Okay, so if you're actually submitting a new mix design, basically you have a set of materials that we have uploaded into the system. Those materials have been mapped to environmental impacts. I've proofed them. The program operator has proofed them. So your material Y is mapped to these impacts. I've proofed them. I've submitted to the program operator. They've proofed them. Okay? Those set of impacts have also been proved within the tool to be correct. All right? So let's just say you use a cement that you buy from this gentleman here, and he submitted his data. He does, you know, but I don't know you guys, so that wouldn't happen, okay?
Would be nice.
Probably be nice, okay. So you have a manufacturer that you're buying cement from. They have a set of data. I've put it into the system. I've verified it, and the program operator has verified it. Every time you use that material, the calculation pulls a certain amount of that, and that's been verified. All right?
So one of the things is like the setup, we do it, not you.
I do it.
Yeah, I mean, she does it, and it's very important, the setup, because that is going to be the base or the foundation upon the thing that you can build upon. It's not that you can just do whatever. No, I mean, the setup is very strict and consistent to what you normally use. And if you want to add after the setup is done, you can do it. But
it goes to verification again. Now, on the other side, I'm actually proofing everything outside of the system to double check it. All right? So my system's been checked by the program operator, but I never add anything else in unless I'm also checking it. All right, so that's me. My program operators, there's 3 LCA practitioners that have verified the system. Rita Shank, Tad Rosinski, and Tom Gloria, all really well-renowned LCA experts that have proofed and reviewed this system, so they know that it works. And as I said, you can't put anything new in unless it's verified again. Yeah.
Why is an EPD important in the whole process of making a building?
Why is an EPD important? An EPD is important if we go back to that slide of reducing embodied impacts. It's the tool that lets you see what those embodied impacts are. Yeah, I mean, great, we want to reduce embodied impacts. Well, great, okay, I think I'm reducing them. Wonderful, let's measure it, really. And that's what an EPD is doing.
But if you go back, maybe you can explain through the lens of LEED, you know, where your EPD expands.
I think that's very important for everybody to understand.
No, lower. So, no, lower. Sorry, where your EPD is.
Oh, in the process.
Yes. So, over there, the number 11? Yeah. So, like, these categories are the ones that LEED is looking for as the impact categories. I don't know what I did.
You didn't do anything, I just made a thing.
Okay. Yeah. So, these are the ones that we're trying to reduce in LEED. The global warming potential is the impact that our product is having in the environment, and that's very, very important to reduce. So then when you're comparing one concrete versus the other one, you want these numbers, you want to check for these numbers. That's why for LEED is very important, specifically these first 5 impact category rules, and this is what you have to understand in order to compare one product to the other. Because then you have energy and water and a lot of other multi-criteria that we have explained. But for LEED, these first 5 are the category rules that we're analyzing when we're analyzing your concrete needs. And these are the numbers that you want to lower. You know, like ozone depletion potential, like how much less are you contributing to, you know, ozone depletion. So it's more like this is the thing and this is the importance, but right now it's just numbers.
Creo que es importante saber esto porque esto es lo que te hace responsable en tus procesos y en tu compromiso con el medio ambiente.
Yes. And this is important because it's where you demonstrate your responsibility.
Yeah. So if you have done things within your plant to improve, we update your data, it's re-verified, and we push a button and we recalculate your existing EPDs. So now you have version 1, and then you have version 2, and then you have version 3, and you can show your improvement.
Entonces, por eso es importante no solo el EPD, sino que ustedes sigan mejorando en las cuestiones ambientales, en toda la producción, en todos sus edificios, la mejora en las fuentes de energía, la mejora en su manejo de agua, la mejora en la eficiencia de sus equipos, pero los EPDs es una manera rapidísima de demostrar que siguen trabajando en esas cosas.
Con esta herramienta, como vamos a poder compararnos con la competencia, estaremos en posibilidad, o esta herramienta te permite ver información sensible de la competencia?
Los EPDs, sí.
Claro, publicado nada más.
Every person who does an EPD has to make it public. So if your competition has published an EPD, you can see it. All right? I can't tell, you cannot see within this exactly how they made their product, but you can see their numbers. So you could look at your competition and see something. In terms of the industry average buries the details in it, and you can't dig into it yourself and find out what the competition's was. That's already buried in. Yeah.
La tendencia del mercado es hacia transparentar estos procesos.
Exacto.
Entonces es importante poderlos ver.
I think that the issue would be like the input data. That's not public, right?
No, that's all hidden behind security and firewalls.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, your data is hidden.
Just the publish, of course, is public, but
And it has to be public. I mean, yeah. Right.
No, that's why this is a great tool for you to demonstrate your environmental commitment without showing what you're using.
Exactly, like our suppliers.
Exactly. No, you don't have to
No, the only thing you're showing is down here on the bottom that you had, this is your ingredient statement. All right? You have some natural aggregate. All right. You have some Portland cement. You have some fly ash, you had some admixtures, and you have some batch water. The specifics of that, no one knows. Yeah.
So, en realidad lo que se presenta. Go ahead.
Gracias. Entiendo, entonces el EPD son por mezcla, no por producción, para el concreto premezclado. Entonces este reporte de EPD se haría por cada mezcla.
Es que si cambias, if you have the same mix, it's just one for everything. But if you change the mix in a specific product, then you need another.
Right? I'm sorry, I was mixing languages.
Right. What I'm saying is that every EPD is per batch or per production?
Per mix design. So all right, so basically, buried also within all of this in my data collection, I'm going to be asking you the energy it took to run your plant. So if you used, 1,000 kilowatt hours of electricity and 500 gallons of diesel and whatever to run your plant, I'm going to take those numbers and I'm going to divide it by your production for the year. And then I'm going to allocate that production to all mixes. All right? So whenever you make a mix, that amount of manufacturing processing is going to get allocated to new mixes. All right? Now, I don't know if that's answered your question, but I'm only concerned in the mix design, how much of each material you use, not when you made it, because I'm going to assume that if you made it this year, your production impacts were the same as last year. And then when we do the update, we update that background production impact and we apply it forward.
But if you have one mix that you use all the time, you just need an EPD for that mix.
Right.
If you vary the mixes, then you need another
EPD.
That's why this is so important for the concrete industry, because these used to be static and very expensive. And they were just going crazy. You were just going crazy because you wanted to change a little bit here and there, and then you had to pay again, and it was just super expensive. Now you have the opportunity to change the mix however you need for the specific project and the requirements of that project, and therefore you can get another EPD without investing a lot of money just to get another EPD. That's why this system allows you to have 1,000 EPDs if you want, because probably every project has different specification and you can accommodate the mix for the specification of your product without worrying that the EPD is not going to work. Because every EPD could have you know, a specific thing for that project.
Every mix can have an EPD. And
Right,
it doesn't
that is the
matter if
mix.
you make that mix today or tomorrow, if it's the same mix design, you use the same EPD.
Exacto.
Y en ese sentido, ¿qué sucede cuando ocupamos ya material reciclado como agregados o agua?
So if you're going to use recycled aggregates, I am going to help you when we set up, build the environmental impacts of that recycled aggregate. So let's say you buy that recycled aggregate, you buy concrete, you crush it yourself and reuse it as a recycled aggregate. I'm going to build myself, with your assistance, the environmental impacts of that aggregate, making that aggregate. So let's say you have to use, you know, so much electricity to crush that aggregate per ton. I will build that model, and then every time you need recycled aggregate, I put that into the system. And that's part of the verification. I will call out to your program operator, we built this recycled aggregate, it's your specific recycled aggregate, here's the data, here's how we build it, they verified it, now you use it. Recycled water, same situation. Most plants recycle water. You wash out your trucks, you collect the water, you reuse it in your batches. I build that into the model as well.
¿Por allá tenían otra pregunta?
Sí. Complementando la pregunta que hace el caballero, si nosotros decidimos entonces utilizar en el ejemplo que ponía del agua reciclada, el día de hoy un 10% de agua reciclada y el día de mañana decido aumentar de la misma mezcla a un 20%, entonces eso no necesita ser validado por el operador, ya lo tendría como preseleccionado en mi lista de valores.
So what we can do in your situation is I can make a material called recycled water, all right? And that recycled water will have no impacts, basically. And when you decide to use recycled water in your mixes, you call for that material, recycled water. And thus you may have regular water that is coming from your municipality that would carry some burdens with it, some environmental impacts with it. Your recycled water would be burden-free, no burdens, and I would make those two materials available to you in the drop-downs. They would have been approved, and you could use them in your mixes. Now, if you decide to make the mix one day with 20% recycled water, and the next day with 10% recycled water, we need two different mix designs. Okay, because they need to be two different EPDs. Yes.
Sí, vuelves a hacer un EPD para cada uno.
No, me refiero a que yo no necesito...
No. Lo validas en el setup. En el setup lo validas y después por eso tú puedes hacer todas las mezclas que quieras. Sí, o sea, por eso el setup es muy importante. Metes todo y después tú arreglas lo que tú quieras.
Ya lo meto, digamos, el litro de agua reciclada me equivale a tanto.
Exacto. Sí, y ese cálculo ya está hecho. Exactamente.
Correct.
En este reporte nos habían comentado que vienen los datos de la empresa, de la planta y sobre las mezclas de lo que estuvimos trabajando. Este documento, como lo comentaban, ¿tiene alguna relación o validez con alguna cámara, alguna dependencia del gobierno, o es nada más el reporte de lo que generan ustedes como software?
O sea, well, when you hit the submit button, it is valid, unless I threw it into quarantine.
Maybe they want to understand, like, where is it valid or who is validating this?
Oh, your program operator will validate it. So, yeah, hold on.
Because it's like, is the government approving? Who is approving?
Oh, okay, ISO standards. We go back to the ISO standards for eco-labels, for EPDs. ISO standards 14025 requires that your program operator is the validator. A program operator has to go through a whole set of requirements to become a program operator, and they have a whole set of program operator rules that they comply with, and they have a procedure for verifying. So there are a number of program operators around the world. 3 of them have done a system verification on our tool. So currently, there's 3 opportunities for you to select a program operator.
Ok, lo comentaba porque hay logotipos, ¿no?, de asociación en la industria del concreto.
Sí.
Aquí en México, ¿ya tienen algún contacto con ellos o se ha trabajado?
No lo hemos hecho.
Y
Pero
bueno,
sí estamos tratando de ver cómo nos digamos con el 11, con todas estas personas que están trabajando en lo mismo, pero era importante para nosotros sacar una herramienta para agilizar todo, especialmente por las demandas del aeropuerto.
Y bueno, esta es otra pregunta. Sobre el programador, hablaban de que tiene un costo anual.
Ajá. Sí, o sea, ya nos sentaríamos con cada quien. Es una membresía, se renueva anualmente y ya nos sentaríamos a darles un costo específico.
¿Este es un software?
Este es un software.
¿Es
en la
un
nube.
costo anual?
Sí.
¿O es un precio único?
No, es un costo anual porque se le tiene que dar mantenimiento y servicio a la gente.
¿Es independiente del programador o es lo mismo?
Ajá, son varios precios y te los vamos a alinear. O sea, uno es que te ayudemos y que te revisemos y que te ayudamos a subir los datos. Otro es el precio del programa, pero por ejemplo, el programa vale lo que costaba antes hacer un solo EPD. Entonces, por el precio de uno puedes hacer 100. Y entonces eso te da mucha flexibilidad.
Y lo importante ahorita es que en cuanto a las certificaciones, que esté validado, en el caso del aeropuerto, por ejemplo, por la USGBC. Entonces es importante, sí, claro que en un momento dado van a importar ya cuando entren otras normas y todo, verificadores o que esté validado en México, pero ahorita es importante para eso y supongo que evidentemente está validado.
Claro, claro. Sí.
Gracias.
Por acá.
Este programa que ustedes tienen aplica también para la fabricación de cemento. ¿Sí? Okay. Gracias.
So our program complies with 2 PCRs. One is for the ready-mix cement, and the other one is for concrete blocks. I haven't shared the concrete block one here, but we've done, this program has been verified for concrete block PCR and for the ready-mix PCR. So that's the term you need to use. The program works with PCR this, PCR that. New PCRs, we would have to go through a process of updating the systems and software to comply with it, and then have it verified.
Just a question, Lauren. Compared to other EPDs, how long does it take to have this one?
I do it in 90 days. But let me tell you, when I do it in 90 days, the first 60 days, I have to have active weekly engagement by the client because we are in the data gathering stage. So the upfront piece is really data intensive, and I work with people directly to get that data, and then I can get it done. I do most of them in 90 days.
So 90 days for the setup, and once you have the setup, then it's immediate. I mean, you put the information and we can help you or train someone from your company to do it, or if you require assistance, we would be able to help. But once you have the setup, then you can just run with it and do as many as you want and have, and the setup is important so we can have the average and we can verify if something is kind of off, and we can be a lot more help to you. But it's not only to have the EPD, but also how do you improve everything. It's not like, for example, LEED certification will help your company too, but it's not only LEED certification, it's that enhancing your transportation, you know, maybe changing from gasoline to diesel vehicles, and, you know, enhancing the source of your energy, and enhancing your water treatment plants. I mean, it's just a way to show how you are improving. But the setup is very important, and we can help you enhance the foundation, transportation, energy efficiency, water efficiency. all these other things that we can also help, so your EPDs every year are better and better.
And every year I'll come back to you and I will have a procedure for updating the data. I'll come back to you and I say, okay, you know, do you need any new materials? Do we need to get any new inventory data from your suppliers? And part of your subscription fee to the tool is this annual update. So that will be, you'll be, you know, 2 months of a lot of work to get the setup started. And then annually there may be a week of work, you know, to help work with me to get data in and update things. Yeah.
I think it's important to mention, it's just, I know this is a private thing, but just in general costs, how is this different from regular EPDs?
I can probably say something. I mean, an average EPD is like $35,000. It's like the subscription to the program, to this software, not the whole system, is half. That unexpensive it is.
Basically we have a setup fee, and that fee is a one-time fee, and it's based on how many plants you want to set up.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, if you want to do 1 or if you want to do 25, it's a different number.
Right.
Okay. And it's a different number for your effort as well, because you're collecting 25 pieces of data.
Right.
So most people I know will start with 5 to 12 plants, and then they annually add more plants. Then after that, depending on the number of the plants, the service fee could be as much as, you know, $50 per plant per month. You know, it's really also based on the number of plants, and that is, you know, divide that by however many EPDs you care to produce, and then that's your cost per EPD. You know, if you produce 1, well, it's an expensive EPD, but way less than the traditional approach. If you do 1,000, they're costing you pennies.
Ajá. Pero, o sea, nosotros vimos que con esto se reduce casi que con, no sé, estoy poniendo números, ¿no? Pero nada más el uso del software en promedio son como $15,000 al año con el setup fee y cosas así. Y esto varía, a esto que agregarle el costo del operador del programa y el costo de la consultoría para estarles dando pues más herramientas, entrenar a su gente a que lo sepan usar, a que lo sepan vender, o sea, como es todo un programa de educación completo, pero cuesta menos de lo que costaba uno solo. Y ustedes van a tener esta multiplicación impresionante a la mano todo el tiempo, y alguien que los esté acompañando para que no se hagan errores, para que sí se mejore, para todo esto, ¿no? Entonces, sí, los precios se van al piso a comparación de lo que estaba sucediendo.
¿Vamos a hacer un comentario?
Claro.
Si esto que ustedes proponen realmente se implementa así como ustedes lo están planteando, felicidades, porque esto viene a revolucionar todo este tema que traemos en EPDs, que nos ha traído vuelto locos, ¿eh?
Totalmente.
Entonces, está muy interesante. Muchas gracias.
No, yo creo que más, o sea, ustedes más que nadie pueden estar de acuerdo conmigo que cuando yo vi esta solución dije, esto es lo que necesitamos, porque lo otro nos está volviendo locos. Estuvimos hablando con varios de ustedes para ver qué podíamos ofrecerles, y cuando encontramos esto dije, esto es, tiene que ser bueno, bonito, barato, rápido, movible, flexible, y encontramos pues ahora sí que toda nuestra lista de requerimientos, y creo que nos va a ayudar mucho porque, bueno, la gente del aeropuerto va a decirles que todos nos estamos rompiendo la cabeza con cómo solucionar esto. Pues muchas gracias, les agradecemos mucho que hayan venido. Y bueno, pues ya saben, estamos buscando siempre cómo ayudar, cómo mejorar, cómo agregar valor, y que México no se quede atrás, sino que vaya muchísimo para adelante en todas las compañías que están aquí. Gracias. Muchas gracias.